Hey, what's up YouTube? It's John D57 here, and today we're going to be working on the bike. I got my GoPro set up on a jack, and we're going to be using that as the camera for this project. So what happened to this bike was I hit a pothole, and the previous derailleur hit a spoke and knocked like 3 of them out in the process, and then it went around the gears and ate itself. So I threw a new rim on here, took off the old derailleur, and now I'm just running a straight chain from sprocket to sprocket. I picked one gear. So that's not working for me. I need my gears. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and fix that today. It's a pretty easy process to change this out. You're just going to need a 15mm wrench, a new derailleur, and you might need a new hanger as well. These are pretty cheap. They come in many different shapes and sizes. Make sure you get the correct one. The thing to really look out for is that little loop. Make sure you know if that side matches if you have a recessed frame, which I do. So we're going to get into this and just show you how to change it. So little product plug, I got these ratcheting crescent wrenches over at Walmart. They're just regular crescent wrenches, but they ratchet as the name suggests, and I absolutely love these things. One of my favorites. So this is going to be a 15mm. Most bikes are, so make sure you're doing the right side. And just take this off. Just one simple bolt on the axle. Sometimes there'll be these little hook hangers like these. I put this one in here just to make sure my rim didn't fall off or anything while I'm riding. They just hook into a hole on the frame, and they make sure that if something's loose, it can't bounce out of place. They are an extra little safety measure. So just put your wrench back for now. And then what we got are these little recessed bolts. So you have these guys. One threads into the other, and they both will go inside of this top hole. So in this instance, it'll go on this frame, and it recesses into the frame. So while it's like that, we'll take the rear one, which is usually the one with a little Phillips side on it. And make sure I don't lose that. You hold him down, and you try and get your finger back there to plug him into the back. Use your finger to hold it in place and start threading this one in, and that'll secure it. You take your Allen wrench, I want to say this is like an M5 or an M6, and you just start threading it in. And usually it'll actually catch. You don't need to get on the other side to tighten it, but you just grab that, get in there, and tighten it nice and good. Don't over tighten it. You don't want to strip it, but at this point, this hanger is an extension to the frame. As far as the bike is concerned, it's good and on there. So if your old derailleur came with a hanger of its own, in this case mine did, this is not the correct derailleur hanger. This is some garbage hanger. It's the same style of Allen wrench. It's just like a little M6, and you just unscrew it right there, and there's a big threaded bit right there. So unscrew that, set that to the side, and what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to add a length of chain. Since I broke my chain and I threw a new one on there that was much shorter, since this one didn't have a derailleur, we're gonna have to add a length to allow for the derailleur to work. So here I think I'm adding 8 links. So what we're gonna need is a chain breaker, or a new chain with a master link, which I don't have, and this is a chain breaker. So the way this thing works is you have these little pseudo chains. You place your link on that pseudo chain, and then this pin will screw down to hold it in place, and then you have a little pin with this one that goes in and hits the riveted pin and pushes it through into a hole in this bolt. It's really hard to show you guys. It's a really small mechanism, and I don't really have the cameras that allow for that kind of visibility, but I hope I explained it well enough. So we need to do that to this one. If you know how to do this, you can actually do it usually well enough to where you don't have to remove any pins. Just put it straight to the end. That way you can actually reattach it. That's the best way to do it as far as I'm concerned. So you grab yourself an Allen wrench, or if your tool came with something, you can use it there. But you just pop that guy in there, and you start punching the pin out. You just push it all the way through. Like I said, you don't want to go so far that the pins are coming out of the chain. And you can usually feel it when it passes through a link. I'm just gonna hand tighten it, and then instead just go through. Let's see, I think I got it. No, but I am really close. There it goes. So as you see, let's actually, I can show you this maybe. Let's get him out of there. Try and show you how a pin or chain breaker works. So you got this chain, and the way this works is you see this pin, the pin will recess inside that bolt, and your little pin pusher will keep pushing and forcing the pin further and further down. So we're just gonna go through and try and make sure it's right where we need it to be. So you see we've got the pin right there and full clearance in between the links. So we'll be able to put this chain back together nice and easy, which I will show you guys now. We need that little bit of chain extension. That's what we're using. We're gonna be extending this chain. So what we're doing is we just take this inner link, connect it to these two outer links, and just drop that guy in there, push him. You can center it. And then the easiest way, just do the reverse of what you did. I'm gonna flip the chain breaker in this instance because I need to, or rotate, not flip it. So, as you see, I hope you guys can see it, I've got the pin on this side pushing onto the pin from the chain, and it's gonna push the pin all the way through the chain back into place. So we're just gonna grab the little bar on the bottom again, insert our Allen key for torque, and we're just gonna try and line that pin up as best we can and push it back through the chain. Oh, okay, perfect. This guy's going in easy. So you just want to watch it, make sure it's not doing anything weird. Maybe move your chain around if you have to get it to all line up correctly. Should take some force because you're punching it through a hole it's not supposed to fit through. And we're good. So now we loosen up our pin pusher just a little bit. And then we can loosen this. And now we have a fully complete chain. And if you did it right, once you lubricate this chain, it should bend like all of the other links. It should be a nice loose chain. If you did it correctly, nothing should be wrong. Okay, so what we are currently left with is an open link and a closed link. Now, when I broke this chain the first time, I obviously had to take a link out. So what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to get this pin, get a pin, which I saved, and put it back into this. So what we got is a small hammer. This is a ball peen hammer. We got a small pair of needle nose pliers, and then we have this pin. And we're going to use the needle nose pliers just to hold the pin in the correct position. Pay special attention to which end of this pin is going to be flared up. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but this side has a small flare. So that means it won't go in if we try and hammer it in. We just need to line it up with a hole on the correct side, hold it in. Not too hard with the pliers, just line it up and give it a couple taps, try and get it to set in there. Now, I like to link the chains together. I don't plan on merging this chain yet. I'm going to use the chain breaker there. I'm just trying to set the pin. But I use them both together so that you don't bend the outer links. Because if you start hammering on them and they're not supported by the inside, you'll bend them together, kind of like the forks on a outlet. So let's see. Let me know if you guys end up liking this kind of content. I want to start making more content more often. Sorry for the mess. I've been working on my garage, trying to get it all cleaned up and everything, trying to make it more YouTube friendly. And think I finally figured out a couple of video setups, like with my cameras and stuff, that I can make something that I feel is reasonable enough to produce. So like I said, just use the pliers to set the pin. And I think we got it. It's not centered, but it's on there. You guys can see that. So we're just going to keep centering it until it actually goes in a little bit, because I want it to center itself, and then we'll actually use a chain breaker to push it back out. If we can get this to work correctly. Alright. Let's see. Think we're getting somewhere. Like I said, so we have merged the links for now. I'm not going to go all the way in. Oh, there we go. We're most of the way in. We're going to use a chain breaker to pop it back out. We'll go back over to the bike, break the chain back, or I'll see if I can show you guys how to do it. So, let me just tighten up my little handle here. It's getting loose. So, like I said, we're going to find our little half link here. Not a half link, but a half riveted link. So, what we're going to do, I actually have this flipped, hold on. You take your chain breaker, you line it up in there, pull back your pin. Alright, you line that guy up. Let's see if you guys can see this. Let's get more light there. And we're going to use the pin to, actually I had it right the first time. Sorry guys. So we have the pin going into the hole side, and the rivet from the chain is going to be pushed into the recess of the bolt. We're going to push the pin, the rivet pusher, through the links of the chain to help push that little link out. I did it by hand, I think, actually. Let's see. I felt it move. I'm kind of worried I popped it out. It's really close. So, like I said, just be really careful not to go too far. You really don't want to push the rivet out. Like I said, just far enough to where you can break the chain again, but keep the rivet in place. Take some time, but you will get there. I think I may have gotten it. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So there we go. And now this guy has his pins sitting out perfectly even and straight, and we're ready to push him back in to link the chain together. But first we have to run it through the derailleur and line it up with at least one of the gears. So I'll show you guys how to do that now. Alright guys, back at the bike. So you want to take your Allen key, and we're going to hook up this derailleur. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to start from the red. Make sure we don't twist our chain. Start running it along the gear. Oops, dropped it. Start pulling it through the first gear, which in this case is the red one. And then wrap it underneath the cage and along this black gear. Try not to twist your chain. Make sure everything's good. And just run it through a little bit, and we have a nice perfectly run chain. So then it's good to wrap around here, and we're good to go. So what we're going to do, just keep it about halfway in there so it doesn't keep trying to spill out on me. And we're going to screw in wherever it is, right here. We've got to wrap that guy over just a little bit. We'll throw him on one of these deals. Just pull the chain through on one of the cogs for a second, just so it's out the way. Make sure it's not twisted. Leave that to dangle. Okay, put it on the smallest. That should be the easiest to hook up. And then we're going to hook our derailleur up right there. So it's kind of a fine thread, and you're biting into most likely cast aluminum, so make sure your threads line up the first time. Don't try and force anything. There we go. Should go in nice and smooth. Alright, and then tighten it snug, and then just snug it up. There we go. I wasn't, you know, cranking down on it or anything like that. You know, you don't want to just crank it with all your force, because you still need to be able to move. And that should be good. And we're gonna take our chain here. It's clearly working. All the gears are obviously smooth. I can run my chain through the derailleur. We're gonna run it through any of the gears. It'll be a lot better once we actually hook up the derailleur cable. And then what we have to do is run our chain along the entire length of the bottom here. Make sure there's no tangles. And hook it up to our first cog, which can be a lot easier said than done a lot of the times. If it's so out of the way, like me with the jack shaft kit, this is difficult sometimes getting it right. Making sure it's all snugged up and everything. There we go. And since we're running a derailleur setup, this shouldn't be a big problem. Let's see. Okay, so what we need to do now is create us some slack. That's what we should have done first. Alright, so learn from my mistakes. Give yourself the slack you need. So, we do this. Pull it back. Create the slack you need. Pull it forward and around. Luckily, derailleurs are pretty stretchy, so you shouldn't be dealing with a bunch of chain reach problems. They should be able to line up pretty easy. And then we're going to line up our chains. Remember, we're just punching them together. I was actually able to punch it in place with just my finger. That's how easy that should be for you. Sometimes it won't be, and if you have master link, it might be a little wonky at times, but just be persistent. Don't get frustrated. Just, you know, figure it out. It'll happen. It'll work its way into the right place eventually. And now we have a derailleur chain. We are actually going to push this pin in all the way. So you just, like I said, snug everything up. Give you a little room for test fitting. Put it on its little link locator. And snugify. This one's going on real easy by hand. So there we go. And he is nice and on there. Oh, most of the way. Hold on. So we got a little bit left. There we go. Alright. Punch that last little bit in there. Of course, needs some assisting. And there we go. That is a nice built chain. Well, I think I can afford to go in. You want to really make sure that that link is in as far as it should be and not too far out on one end. You know, take a look at the ones next to it. It should be alright. There we go. We are doing good. I'm not going to show you guys how to tune your derailleur. That is kind of an annoying process in and of itself. And it's not really something I care to really deal in. I don't like doing it. I don't like showing people how to do it. I don't like doing it for other people. If there's enough demand for it, maybe I'll make a video for it, but for the most part, honestly, go to any like actual bicycle channel video and they will show you how to do it. It's not super difficult. It's just really time consuming and it doesn't make for a good video. But aside from that, there you guys go. We have a new derailleur on there. I could probably stand to lose a couple links on the chain, but I mean, honestly, it's on there. It's not going to go anywhere. And we have gears again on the motorized bicycle. That's how you guys do it. That's how you do it for your regular bicycles too. Like I said, you can tune the derailleur to your heart's content so it shifts smoothly. But that's it. Everybody enjoy, And I'm going to try and get more bench content for both bikes up and running. I want to really overhaul both of my bikes. So that's coming up. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry if it took long. Sorry if it rambled. I hope you guys like the new camera setups and all that. And thanks for watching.